Hello, my name is Savanna Wegman and I am the production designer for Biographica for lyric opera. Biographica to me really was about exploration of like the outer world. It was kind of like this investigation into pulling from above and receiving knowledge and wisdom and invention, and kind of the beginnings of starting in this like empty space and then inventing something. And to me that was like a metaphor of creation, it's a metaphor of discovery, it's a metaphor of learning, and in that way kind of encapsulated everything that Girolamo represents as a Renaissance man. And in that way, during that time, science and astrology and spirituality and religion was all enmeshed. So I'm in love with that time because there's no lines between what the spiritual and the physical. Everything was looking at the stars and reading how our bodies might respond to that, which I love, and I fully get lost in that. And I think the world of the production design and the visual poetry that I'm using is trying to physicalize that delineation between the firmaments. So that like boundary between earth and heaven, and that being surpassed a lot, and how they move between them. So the shapes I'm using in the space are very circular, and that kind of relates to a lot of dome pictures I was looking at, pictures of firmaments, and also Girolamo's inventions that are really intensely interested in that like forever movement of the endless circle. And so that way bodies in the space are constantly moving within multiple realms and multiple actual planes of being, in a way. And I think there's a real impulse of mine to bring a lot of the undercurrents of that space and of that like receiving from like celestial beings, and in that way I've interpreted the singers of the opera as kind of, and with Heather as well, we really pushed in this direction of them being messengers to Girolamo, and kind of really being these like celestial guardians of his that are angelic and ethereal, but also are in charge of this memoryscape and this dreamscape, and that is all sort of part of Girolamo's mind. So everything has like kind of a slow memoryscape quality to it, and from that we pull a lot of Renaissance imagery and tableaus, and the pacing of that is definitely drawn out of a lot of traditional Renaissance paintings. So there's a few worlds we're working with in terms of like the invisible and like the kind of spirituality, medicinal astrology side of things that definitely exist, and then in a more mannerism way we're looking at angelic and celestial beings, but in a way that's like quite about the body, and about like creating shapes and apertures in the space where that might look like a vanitas or like a living still life kind of thing. Yeah, collaborating with Heather has been amazing because we really sat down and we kind of storyboarded each scene and worked out what we pulled from a lot of Renaissance imagery, and sort of being like, what are the bodies doing in the space? How are they composed in relation to each other and in relation to Girolamo? And the importance of objects in the space as well. This being like a memoryscape or a dreamscape, that already gives us the ability to obscure the way that we understand objects, and we can be a bit more poetic in the way that they come on stage and are interacted with. So in these memories we've kind of combined a language of objects that can help tell the story, but are also kind of remained on stage, and adding to this kind of picture of Girolamo's life. So that was really, really lovely to like really think deeply about images and how the guardians are there, sort of transcending that like that external space and coming internal and transforming in character to become figures in Girolamo's memory. I would love audiences to come and see the show and just feel like kind of mesmerized by the world of it, the music, the movement, and just like the kind of grandiosity of it all, but also like the strange ethereal nature that we're trying to create, to like really match that music and kind of be transported into this like world that's enmeshed with so many different contexts. And you can hear that in the music, and also the language and the Latin and the kind of weight of history. But at the end of the day, it's a story about a man battling with his memories and his life, and reflecting on his life as an inventor, as a creator, as someone who is constantly becoming, and in this process of like discovery. And I think that's what pulled me to Girolamo in the first place, is that he's a flawed human, and we're experiencing his life, and you see this beautiful picture of it, which is not always beautiful. But I hope there's like, it kind of can bring to the surface a lot of the undercurrents of a life and the poetry of that, and the influences that really shaped it.